Claudia Imhoff, and I'm here at the beautiful WeAskU in Grants Pass, Oregon, at the Scott Humphrey Pacific Northwest BI Summit. And I'm here with Glenn Raby. Glenn is the CEO of Yellowfin. Nice to have you with us, Glenn.
It's a pleasure, Claudia.
Well, it's been an interesting time, Glenn. I have to admit, you've got a number of things coming out. But before we get to the exciting news about Yellowfin, I wanted to ask you your opinion about the BI Summit. What is it good? Have you had a fun time? Have you learned something?
Have I learned something? Well, I'm back after last year,
Yes,
so it definitely
2 years.
2 years. So it definitely has a lot going for it. I think it's certainly a very interesting opportunity to talk to people with industry, and rather than being sort of pushed and sort of on a sort of tight schedule, you've just got this opportunity to have a chat with people and really get into what's going on and what people are thinking, and I think that makes it really unique. So,
Let's get to some details. What's really in Magnum?
okay, so I think essentially what we looked at and where we started with Yellowfin was around how do people create reports, how do people do ad hoc reporting, and so there's a number of steps and processes in that whole scenario. So from connecting it to data to creating a semantic or metadata layer, and then actually building out the reports and then publishing those reports. And so when we started Yellowfin, that whole process and the technology we had at the time available to us in the browser was fairly limited. And so we had to essentially create a multiple step process to achieve this. So the user had to go through various stages in all this content creation.
Yeah.
And so with HTML5 and a lot of the sort of the new web technologies that are available, what we've been able to do is compress all of that. So we've just made it a far more, I think, intuitive and simple process. So functionally, it's just as rich. So we're not taking anything away, but we're using all this great new UI technology to be able to short circuit the whole process, to make it much more interactive, far more intuitive, and that the user gets instantaneous feedback about what they're doing. And this kind of creation, content creation, typically you'd see in a desktop environment. That's what desktops did. They had the benefit of all of that. And
Yeah.
so we're bringing that really rich user experience into the browser, which is, I think, terribly exciting.
I think it's terribly exciting too, and it's going to be out
November
of this year. We'll keep our eye on it then.
Terrific.
Now let's get to Yellowfin. Yellowfin's got some interesting and exciting news coming up.
Yeah, so we've got a new release coming out in November, which we're very, very excited by. So, and its code name is Magnum, so it will have a number at some point, but at this stage, Magnum. Predominantly we have an event, a charity process in Australia called Movember, and so it's named after a moustache, Magnum PI's moustache.
Of course.
So
An iconic moustache.
it's an iconic moustache.
And an iconic version, I'm sure.
It will be. So it is a very special version. So we've been, over the last few releases, we've been really focused on the whole collaborative aspect of BI and really putting in, and really, I think, building out a fantastic suite of features around collaboration, how people share and use information within the organization and ultimately make decisions. And so for this next release, and hence the sort of really thinking about differently, is we're really looking at how people go about actually creating content. So basically going from scratch. I mean, sort of starting from back when we almost started Yellowfin and rethinking what we're doing, and this time with hindsight. We've seen what our customers do. We understand a lot more about what we want to achieve, and so this is our opportunity to come and to basically rewrite that whole piece from the ground up, which is going to be fantastic.
Well, it's wonderful, and in fact, I admire you for that. You're not that old a company, and yet you've got enough history where you can now begin to say, these are how our customers are using our tool, here's what they are asking for, here's how our technology should move forward in the future.
Yeah.
That's really important.
It is. I mean, I think when you start on a journey, you don't understand everything you need to do, and so you can have some broad brushstrokes and you can have some sense of it. But it's really only when it's being used in anger, in a positive sense. Our customers do love our product, but
yes.
If you know what I mean, where people are really trying to do things and there is frustration, and so we learn from that and I think take that on board.
Good on you.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we're about out of time, but I certainly have enjoyed speaking with you. Again, we're at the Scott Humphreys wonderful Pacific Northwest BI Summit. And again, Glenn Raby, CEO of Yellowfin, thanks for speaking with me.
Thank you, Claudia.